Welcome to VMblog's coverage of KubeCon Cloud Native 2020. Today we have the pleasure of having Rob Harrison, who's the Chief Product Officer, and Ryan Petrich, who's the VP of Architecture at Capsule8. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. No, great to be here. Thanks.
So I guess, why don't we jump right in? For the folks that may not know much about Capsule8, can you give us a quick overview of the company?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll take that. Capsule8 is really a business focused on creating the most complete security solution for Linux environments. Our product provides real-time Linux security protection of cloud, on-prem, and container environments. And we've really done that with a focus on a minimal operational overhead. We've worked with companies including Fastly, Databricks, Looker, and Mimecast, to name a few, to officially protect their workloads, assist them in meeting their compliance needs. And part of our success is really down to our underpinning knowledge and skills of the team. We were founded in 2016 by security entrepreneurs and ethical hackers. And everybody at the organization has a deep domain knowledge in Linux and security. And that continues to be a real core value of our team today. We're really a business that lives and breathes security and Linux.
Now, obviously this year has been unlike any other year in the past, where we've had a major shift from this work from home because of the pandemic. How has this affected your company, and maybe how has it affected some of your clients as well?
Yeah, that's actually a question I get asked a lot, both by customers wanting to kind of understand better what we are doing differently, also by our board in terms of how we operate. I lead the product and engineering team, so I'll just talk about how it's affected us operationally, first of all. Like most companies, we've really embraced remote working, utilizing video and other communication tools. And overall, our productivity has been really good. The team have been really focused. We've executed on our roadmap and hit all of the strategic objectives from an execution perspective that we wanted. So I've been very pleased about that. However, on the flip side, it's been challenging for us for maybe making more of the design and architectural and strategic decisions. I think having people around a whiteboard face-to-face is much more straightforward than trying to understand lots of different perspectives around complex decision-making when you're not all there face-to-face. So that has been more time-consuming. We've still made the decisions that we've needed to. It's just taken longer, and it's not been quite as free-flowing in conversation. We've also, from a trade show perspective and marketing perspective, had to adjust our approach a little bit, not a huge amount though, because we've always been focused on basically getting our product into the hands of our prospects and then our customers. So we basically focused on streamlining our demo approach and our approach to proof of concepts to basically make it more accessible to get your hands on the product and see the value as quickly as possible. And I think overall, in terms of how we've built relationships, we've got a really strong network with the team, being in the industry for so long. So that has been very effective. We've also been able to build long relationships through just having a product that has a true differentiation, is intriguing, and therefore we get that level of engagement to kick off the discussions and then build regular cadence with prospects and with customers to build long, strong relationships, even in this time that is challenging for all of us.
Now, we're going to hear a lot, about at KubeCon about the growth in cloud containers in the Kubernetes industry. What changes and directions do you guys see for the industry moving forward into 2021?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, something I think about very regularly. In fact, I even spoke about it with Forrester earlier this year about kind of the accelerated cloud adoption. I think this year has been like, COVID has almost been a catalyst to amplify and to accelerate people's plans even more. And what we are seeing is organizations that perhaps traditionally didn't have such a rapid approach to adopting cloud, such as maybe even some of the more traditional financial services industries, as one example, are moving more and more of their workloads to the cloud and realizing the benefits that that brings with it. I think we're going to continue to see that trend increase, further acceleration, as people want to have the flexibility that the cloud brings, and also, you know, get better controls of their costs and get better kind of efficiencies out of everything that going online will bring with that. From a security perspective, companies are responding more and more by adjusting their approach to detection to be more Linux specific, because the majority of those cloud environments are underpinned by Linux. And that also includes a shift much more towards real-time detection instead of delayed analysis of logs. And why that's important is because it gives that organization a much faster response cycle to the overall threat that they might be dealing with, or the compromise that they might be dealing with. And again, to just reiterate how that goes on top of this trend, I think the need for an expedient response is no longer just an issue of reducing the risk of, like, for example, sensitive data exposure, but reducing financial risk, say of lost compute time, or with, say, if there's a crypto mining hack, it's actually, they could be auto-scaling the environments and costing you significantly financially, or compromising kind of production workloads. So I think those are how I see the kind of the trends of the adoption of cloud, but also the changes that it'll make to the security market themselves. I'll just hand over to Ryan now to give a perspective from a vendor point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I see Kubernetes becoming the leading orchestrator for yet more resource types. The recent support of Fargate instance type by AWS supports this. But I expect to see like serverless functions and a whole bunch of other cloud resources get better support in Kubernetes, so that organizations have fewer control points to manage. For security vendors, this means that Kubernetes becomes really the central view and enforcement of security policy in the cloud for many organizations, and there will just be an expectation that security vendors support it. So I don't think the sort of like traditional security vendors have realized this is the trend yet, but we certainly have, and I think some of the other sort of more modern forward-facing vendors have as well.
And if you don't mind, could we maybe jump back into your company's technology a little bit and give us kind of a deeper dive into your solution and explain what problems it solves?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just to reiterate, our main mission at Capsule8 is to provide the most complete Linux security protection, preventing and detecting unwanted activity while minimizing operational cost. I'm just going to break down what that means from how our detection capability comes together, first of all. Enterprise infrastructure requires detection built specifically for Linux. It's no longer acceptable to just think that you can have a Windows solution and port that over to Linux, because it will not catch the simplest and most complex attacks. Basically, you need a Linux solution that will focus on catching malware, rogue developers, but also well-resourced attack campaigns. Our detection is crafted with modern enterprise threat models in mind, and that includes threats to cloud-native systems and containers. Capsule8 detects erosion of container isolation boundaries, compromises within the containers itself, misuse of cloud metadata to impersonate infrastructure, abuse of orchestrators, and other issues in cloud-native solutions. Our protection is informed by decades of Linux exploitation experience, and importantly, also in ongoing research. And this is an area that myself and my team are really passionate about. We basically, one of our approaches is to set up honeypots where we lure in hackers and basically monitor and understand the techniques that they use to detect and build detection capability to then stop those emerging threats. And that's one area that we've always invested in and continue to invest in significantly as we go forwards. And as a result of that, we really deeply understand what organizations need to detect those threats. I think it's really important to recognize that you shouldn't, as an organization, have to settle for Windows detection. It really will not be fit for purpose as you evolve your business and grow it online. From an operational perspective, we've focused on minimizing the impact of our solution in production, and that's for two reasons. One, obviously, you're running this across all of your production infrastructure. You want to keep costs low. You want the impact of your security solutions to be low. So we've architected it from day one to have minimal CPU usage, minimal memory usage, And that has been a core part of our differentiation. And secondly, an area that we've invested in significantly this year and will continue to invest in is how efficient it is to operationalize our solution. So that's everything from simple single-click installation through to easy upgrades, through to visualizing the administration for the operational teams, as well as visualizing in an intuitive manner the security information to make it as easy as possible to prioritize incidents, to understand incidents, and then take either automated response or manual interventions to correct those issues.
So you kind of talked about some of your differentiators already, but if a prospect were to come to your company, how would you answer them when they ask you, you know, what makes you unique?
Sure, yeah. First, I would offer that it's really easy to operate on Kubernetes. It's as easy as installing a daemon set. And just by installing that daemon set, it'll run across your entire Kubernetes cluster and detect attacks out of the box. So it doesn't require any tuning. With that simple daemon set, you'll be able to detect attack behavior, violations of policy, and suspicious developer behavior. The attacks we cover are very focused on the sorts of behaviors that occur in real Linux production environments, and with a focus on making sure that all of our instrumentation to detect these attacks doesn't add risk itself. So very low overhead, no chance that it will slow down production systems, and really easy to get value. The other thing I would add is that unlike other solutions, we detect a whole category of what I would refer to as suspicious developer behavior. So unwanted activity in production isn't just confined to attackers. Often well-meaning developers who just want to get their service running, they want to debug an issue, can end up doing things that have a security impact or a stability impact. And it's really important to get visibility into that. So we include a whole suite of detections that detect all sorts of unwanted activity, including things like debugging in production, downloading production data, or deploying outside of a normal deployment cycle via manual tools.
And normally at a time around KubeCon, a lot of companies have product announcements or new things that they release around KubeCon. Do you guys have anything that you want to announce or talk about?
Yeah, I'll just give you a quick summary. So we're more of a business that continually invests in our detection capability and product, and like iterating through monthly releases of new features and capability, as well as improved performance and scalability. However, I think that from a detection perspective, we're really pleased with the updates that we've made to our crypto miner detection in particular. It's something that we've had in the product for a while, but we've made enhancements so that it detects a more kind of sophisticated attack now, where we're even seeing crypto miners kind of competing with each other for certain hardware once it's compromised, and we're able to basically see those types of behavior and shut it down and take automated responses to highlight that to our customers. So that's something that we're going to be pushing very hard with our latest release, which will be coming imminently, like in the next few days. We're also continuing to increase in MITRE coverage. I think MITRE's made a lot of advances this year in terms of being more Linux specific in terms of how it's documented the coverage as a framework. And we're getting much more aligned to that in terms of our levels of coverage. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight, this is all fantastic, but you have to get it into the hands of the operations and the security teams in an effective manner, like I said earlier. And we're making significant investments in how we integrate into existing security tools. And we're basically launching our own integrations portal with a whole bunch of automated integrations, as well as looking at how we move into the space more visually. So as we go into the end of this year and into next year, we're going to be providing visualization techniques for operational and security teams. From the operational use case perspective, it'll be about showing investigatory data along with incidents so that you can identify basically certain behaviors across your environments and see how things impact each other and get a better understanding in an intuitive manner about what that means to you and your environments and what remediating action you may need to take. And from a security perspective, it's all about showing the flow of the threats across your environments and highlighting where there may be other weaknesses or compromise to basically allow you to take action more rapidly. So yeah, overall, it's all about sustained investment with us, and we continue to really challenge ourselves to make sure we've got the best Linux detection possible at all times.
And it'd be great if we could get a quick demo of the product. Is that possible?
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to show a quick demo of a Kubernetes cluster running a vulnerable application, having that vulnerable application be attacked. So an attacker gets access to the container, and then the attacker breaking out of the container and getting access to the host. During the demo, the Capsule8 product will detect each stage of the attack in detail, and I will show the data that it exposes. So I'm going to start by choosing one of our demos here. I'm going to attack Jenkins. So this is a Jenkins instance running an old version that is vulnerable. It's actually a Java deserialization vulnerability. So we're going to run through, see we're now running our little attacker pod. It is running an attack against this Jenkins instance, and this will take a few moments. We now have a reverse shell, and the Capsule8 product has detected the suspicious interactive shell that was created from inside of Jenkins. And we can see it started bash. Going into the details, we can see we have the full context that bash was started. This is a suspicious interactive shell. It is running on a host, and it is running inside container with all of the associated metadata that one might suspect. So if you're trying to triage this incident, you can see here's the image ID it came from, here's the image, the container, the host it was running on, and the pod and namespace associated with it. Having this context is really essential to triaging an incident as it occurs. We try to provide as much context as possible. You can also see the full lineage of how they got there. So if to remediate, if the incident response team wants to see what exactly was affected, we can see which process needs to be cleaned up. From there, the attacker is going to prepare to escalate their privileges. And they're going to do that by taking advantage of a vulnerability in the host kernel. You can see here, we are running inside container. We can only see the container processes, but we are running that vulnerable kernel. So we're going to download our exploit. And we can see now the exploit has done all of its work and indicated that it has gotten root. We can see now we have the init process, the kernel threads in our PS output, which means we do have access to the host. And we can see we have access to the Docker socket, which allows us to see all of the other pods that are running on the host, including other workloads that may be processing sensitive data. And we can see that we are in the host root directory. As far as Capsule8 is concerned, we have detected the attack numerous ways and show all the stages of that attack, starting from that interactive shell all the way through to exploiting the kernel and trying to interrogate the system for more information. From this point, we can install a backdoor. In this case, I'm going to corrupt the authorized keys file so that we now have a new SSH key in there. And the backdoor has been installed. And we have a new alert indicating that the attacker has compromised the authorized credentials and installed their backdoor. So this is just a quick peek at what the Capsule8 product can detect. It is a small sampling through one of the paths an attacker might take. And we aim to cover as many possible paths and as many possible ways as they can to violate the security and stability of a production environment. With that, I will turn it over to Rob.
And where can people go if they want to find out more information about Capsule8 and some of the things you talked about today?
Yeah, no, we'd be delighted to speak to you, and others that are interested, please come to capsule8.com and we'll be in touch as soon as you submit a request.
Great. Well, we appreciate your time today and showing us what the product looks like, and it's you know, really powerful and definitely something that KubeCon audiences should be taking a look at. So you know, thanks for your time today, and we hope to circle back with you guys soon and see what's new.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your time, and great to meet you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more from our cloud technology partners, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want to get notified next time we post a video, please hit the subscribe and the bell notification. Very important.